the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, Bears football is officially almost back as the rookies have officially reported for the rookie minicamp, and it's just a really good feeling to see some football players back on the practice field. Obviously, we heard from guys like Luther Burden, and obviously he has some competitive fire now, especially after he dropped out of the first round. He made a comment just basically saying, hey, every team that passed on me will now have to pay, and I absolutely love that mentality. I think he's going to be a big-time player for the Chicago Bears. Of course, we heard from Colston Loveland, which he didn't participate in rookie minicamp as he's still rehabbing with that injury from college. But he also said that he's just taking mental reps and he will be prepared once he is a full go. So definitely looking forward to watching him be back on the practice field 100% healthy. Honestly, we saw Ozzie Trapillo take all reps at left tackle. And I know that was the plan for Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles to have that versatility from Trapillo to play right and left tackle. But he's going to compete for the left tackle spot with the Karan Amagaji and Braxton Jones. And from what I've noticed, he looked really smooth, good hand placement. I think it's going to be one hell of a battle when we're looking at the left tackle position along this offensive line. But overall, it seemed like it was a really good first day of work for Ben Johnson, which brings me to my main point on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. After one practice, you can already see the difference in what type of culture Ben Johnson is trying to establish within this organization with the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to just show you a quick little clip on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. And the first thing you're going to notice is that every single coach is getting after it. Every single Bears position coach is very vocal. Honestly, you could tell they're creating that competitive environment. And as a Bears fan, that definitely gives me really pumped up, especially when you're looking at a first-time head coach in Ben Johnson. Check this out, Bears fans.
Take it to back rockers right here. Eyes on your coaches. Back rockers, toes in the grass. Reaching out the middle. 5 reps. You guys got to 5 back rockers. Bridges here 5 times.
Once again, Bears fans, it may not seem like much, but it was really fun to see the coaches already getting after it with these rookies, just trying to create that competitive environment, just trying to establish that new culture. And it's going to even be more fun when those veterans, come back for, the mandatory minicamp and training camp. And they also find out the type of culture that Ben Johnson is trying to instill within the Chicago Bears organization. So I just wanted to show you that little clip, just give you some quick little updates from day one of Chicago Bears rookie minicamp, just to get you really pumped up. Because at this point, we're, every day closer to, getting closer to the new season for the Chicago Bears. And this is just step one of the process, getting the rookies in there, allowing them to compete, seeing our draftees and even undrafted free agents and obviously invites as well. So you never know what can happen and the gems that you may be able to find during rookie minicamp. But all in all, it's a really good day one for the Chicago Bears rookies. Another quick little update before I let you guys go on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. Something that we have kind of been keeping a close eye on over the last couple of weeks is the Chicago Bears possibly adding another running back. I think we're all under the consensus as Bears fans that we are okay. And obviously Ryan Poles made this a very clear note as well, saying that they're possibly okay with going into training camp with what they have. And of course, you drafted Kyle Monangai in the 7th round. You still have Travis Homer. You have DeAndre Swift. You had Roschon Johnson as well. But the topic of the conversation is, should the Chicago Bears add another running back prior to training camp? And I feel like this ever-growing rumor with Nick Chubb to Chicago Bears continues to grow. And I know we've already had a whole lot of conversations about Nick Chubb to the Chicago Bears. But as of today, I think this rumor is going to get even hotter, right? With, the Browns GM, Andrew Berry, actually got a chance to speak to the media over there in Cleveland. And he confirmed that Nick Chubb is not expected to return to the Cleveland Browns. And once again, this does not guarantee that Nick Chubb is officially a Chicago Bear, but I feel like that the rumors of Chubb coming to the Chicago Bears, maybe prior to the start of training camp or maybe a little bit after training camp, will start growing even more with the expected news that he will now not return to the Cleveland Browns. Because, we've had a lot of conversations about those were basically the two teams that Nick Chubb was interested in, either staying with the Cleveland Browns or heading to the Chicago Bears, right? And obviously the Cleveland Browns drafted 2 running backs in the NFL draft. So, that kind of signaled that they were really not interested in bringing Nick Chubb back. And obviously Andrew Berry confirmed it today that, hey, he's probably not going to return to Cleveland. So that really leaves possibly the Chicago Bears. I know I've seen people on social media talking about the Dallas Cowboys as well. But once again, we talked about Nick Chubb, 29 years old. I'm about to turn 30. Definitely has an injury history. A lot of Bears fans, including myself, thinking that this can be a low risk, high reward move for Ryan Poles. I'm not saying that you have to sign him right now. You could still go into training camp and see what you have in the running back room. But if you get into training camp and after a week or two, or maybe even after the first or second preseason game, you're like, you know what, this is probably not going to work. Then you can possibly bring Nick Chubb in as a good veteran option behind DeAndre Swift and what you already have in Roschon Johnson, even Kyle Monangai as well. There's also options where you may not want to wait too long as well, because you want to bring in Nick Chubb so you can understand the playbook, what Ben Johnson's bringing in as the new head coach and offensive coordinator or play caller with the Chicago Bears, so he can get used to everything. Obviously, get used to Caleb Williams and his other teammates as well. So it may be beneficial to bring in Nick Chubb sooner rather than later. But at the same time, I'm definitely okay with Ryan Poles keeping the same idea that go into training camp, see what you have. And if you do not like what you see, I think Nick Chubb will still be there as training camp is rolling around, or even a little bit into training camp as well. So overall, Bears fans, just wanted to give you that quick couple of updates on day 1 of rookie minicamp. Went really well. And obviously the update on Nick Chubb now officially sounding like he's not going to return to the Cleveland Browns. So once again, I'll ask you guys this before I end today's episode of Keek on the Mic. You think Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears should just make the move and make Nick Chubb a Chicago Bear right now prior to training camp? Or you think they should wait a little bit, see what they have into training camp, and if they don't like what they see, then sign Nick Chubb? Let me know down below in the comment section what you would do if you were in Ryan Poles' shoes. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all-new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic.